So we're never going to have commercials on this show. And we are never going to make any money off of this show.
What?
No.
Oh.
Because that's not the point.
Oh.
Like, this isn't our content, and we are just here to spread the joy and love of Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
But if we can work with this little family that we've created to help other people, then I think that's great. So I've set up a fundraiser for Freedom Writers Foundation. We're going to do this for Tony Danza's birthday. His birthday is on April 21st.
Okay.
The organization is a nonprofit organization that works to provide educators with the tools they need to empower all students to succeed. They work to reduce student dropout rates and to get more kids on a path to college. So if you would like to participate, go to our Instagram, which is the Who's the Boss podcast on Instagram. On the main page under the bio, you'll see fundraising for Freedom Writers. You can click on that and donate there.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. Tony Danza is going to be 70 years old.
Wow,
Yes.
70.
Happy
Big 70.
birthday.
Good for
Yeah.
Tony Danza.
$40.
Oh, wait a minute, Angela. What are you doing? I work for you all the time.
I know, but I love petunias. $50. 60, 70, 80. $80? We'll be able to buy rose bushes, too. 90. $100. $100? A new Pitkin Avenue record! Do I hear 110? $1,000.
I didn't hear 110.
$1,000. Forget neighborhood beautification. We can all afford to move. Any other bids?
Angela, I am your mother. I know what's best for you. Buy him.
1,000. Going once. Going twice.
Do something.
Sold. Tony Micelli sold to Francesca Bendino.
Hi. Welcome back to
Hey, yo. Oh, wait.
the Who's the Boss podcast. That's my friend Jenny. Thank
That's
you,
good.
Jenny.
Better than me.
Better than mine. I'm Tori.
I'm Kevin.
And we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss.
Come hell or high water.
We got a voicemail.
Just a quick warning that this voicemail does have spoilers.
Hey, Tori and Kevin. This is Jenny. Just wanted to get your opinion on something. So in Walk on the Mild Side, at the end, when they're in the van at the lake, do you think that this is possibly foreshadowing for the episode in season 8, spoiler alert, where they're kind of trying to find a private place to fool around and they end up at the lake in the car? I'm not sure if it's like the same place or if it's just the same set and they only had one lake set, or if this is maybe just where Tony takes his ladies, but just reminded me of that. And yeah, I wanted to see what you thought.
I think it's where Tony brings his ladies.
Yeah, that's hands down.
And I'm sure so there is a spoiler in there in season 8. They end up in a car on the lake again. But
lake.
I can't imagine that the show, knowing some of the continuity errors we're going to have, I can't imagine that they really would have been like, oh yeah, we should use the same lake as that episode. But I do think that and you would think like, oh, a grown man, why does a grown man bring a girl to a lake?
A lake.
But because he lives in a house, like he doesn't live in his own place. So where else is he going to go?
Grown-ass man.
He's
driving.
probably had a lot of sex in that van outside, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or just going back to other people's apartments.
Do you, but like at this point, how long has the show, not how long has the show been on? How long has Tony lived there at this point?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, yeah, so he's had plenty of time to establish some kind of make-out point at some said lake.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he probably scoped that out 2 months in.
That when the weeds are real high.
Listen, come to Connecticut. I'm going to take you to Inspiration Point.
Yeah.
That was what he did.
Find you a nice lake.
Thank you, Jenny. Please send us more voicemails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we don't have any news except for the fact that we are now starting season 4, episode 1. Woohoo!
Yes.
This is our 69th episode.
Wow.
I know. I can't believe it. Okay, so this...
And then how many more? 120?
124. I did the math today.
Yeah, still though.
Then I cried a little. But we're a third of the way. So all we have to do is what we've done already
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
2 more times.
Okay.
It's the same mind games I play with myself when I'm exercising.
Yeah, exactly. Got 20 minutes. That's only 5 minutes 4 times. I do that all the time. Yeah. But I mean, the thing.
Another minute in this run. I've already done one, so I just have to do that one more time.
I know it works.
Yeah.
But I know. But if we shouldn't be like that because we're enjoying this.
No, we are. Yes, yes.
No, but I mean, it is like on top of
It's
their
just a
everyday
daunting-
life. It's
Right,
like setting all the
yes.
things up after you just want to sit on the couch and watch Ugly Betty.
Right. Or that John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, the John Wayne Gacy thing we
documentary
started
we're
watching.
I know, and the other thing I worry about too is like this has been easier because life is different. Like we don't go places.
Right.
I'm home all day long.
Pandemic made this easier and
Yeah.
actually made it was a nice little outlet during the pandemic. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know.
definitely. And we can sleep in. I don't get up as early as I used to have to when I had to be at work, but the kids are going back to school soon,
Yeah.
so we tend to stay up a little later. But it doesn't matter because we are going to do this.
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, we are going to complete this task.
Yeah, we will.
Yes. Okay, so tonight's episode is Frankie and Tony are lovers.
And the main reason we're going to complete this is because a lot of people start podcasts and then they don't go anywhere.
Oh, right. Yes. No, we're not going
But
to.
at least this has a completion.
Right.
Like a lot of podcast people start them and it's an ongoing
Right,
thing
yeah,
that
yeah.
it just either has to end someday or sorry. I want to be able to say I did a complete series of a podcast.
Yeah, like this, we'll have, except the reboot. We're going to have to do the reboot too. If there actually is a reboot at any point.
A reboot.
Which I lose hope and then I get hope again. But then I'm like, God, that was August and we've heard nothing. So if we get to August, okay, and in August, it will be 1 year since we started this podcast. Our first episode, I think,
is that
released
right?
on August 15th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when we hit a year on this podcast, if we still haven't heard anything about the Who's the Boss reboot, then I'm just going to abandon all hope.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. We do have to keep going if the reboot happens. I mean, that's just, that would be exciting.
Yeah. But
Anyway,
then
sorry.
it would be every week because, like now we're doing these twice a week. Okay.
Yeah.
We've gone off on a tangent.
Yeah, it's my fault.
We're 7 minutes in. No, it's
Sorry.
fine. Okay. So do you know what this title is a reference to?
No. I mean, I can only think of Frankie and Johnny.
Okay. Yes. So there's a song called Frankie and Johnny Were Sweethearts.
Okay.
This is Frankie and Tony are lovers. But then there is also a Terrence McNally play called Frankie and Johnny and the Claire de Lune, which then became a movie in 1994
Okay.
or 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino called just Frankie and Johnny,
right.
which is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, we saw the play.
We did see the play. Yes, we saw Rosie
New York.
Perez and...
Joe Pantoliano.
Thank you. Yes, it was on Broadway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yes, Frankie and Johnny is one of my favorite movies, and it was always my breakup movie. So I haven't actually seen it in a long time.
Oh, okay.
I think I have watched it since we've been together, but yeah, I don't know why, but that was my go-to breakup movie. Okay. This first aired Tuesday, September 22nd. 1987. And the TV Guide summary says, Angela worries that she'll lose Tony after he meets a woman from the old neighborhood, in quotes, who's now a lawyer and is tendering offers of matrimonial nature. What?
I don't know.
Tendering offers of a matrimonial nature.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. Actually, I'm looking at the Internet Movie Database one. It's a little more direct.
Yeah.
The Bowers and Micellis return to Brooklyn to help Mrs. Rossini at a fair. Tony allows himself to be auctioned and is bought by Frankie. an old flame. Angela is bummed and realizes she loves Tony.
It does not say Angela is bummed and
I
realizes.
swear, right there. Angela is bummed.
Oh my gosh.
And she realizes she loves Tony.
What
I can't make that
22-year-old
up.
wrote that like 6 months ago?
So bummed.
So I'm using the same site, but I went to TV Guide to gather all the season 4 blurbs, and the site's like done a little different, and I can tell that this is written a little differently. So now I'm not so sure that this would have still been the actual TV Guide summary. And they included the day of the week and the dates. But I'm still using these because I'm too lazy to look for anything else. Now, this episode was written by Karen Wengrod and Ken Cinnamon. They also wrote the season 3 finale, so now they are back for the season 4 opener.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like these finales and the openers are always kind of written by, like before it was Prudence Fraser and Steinkellner, but they don't seem to be with the show anymore. So I feel like there's like the main writing team who does some of these heavier episodes. And then I'm sure probably everyone else is...
Yeah. And they want
weighing
the
in,
garbage
working
filler episodes.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
They're also, contributing because even though it has writers' names on it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was only written by them. Now, when this episode opens, the whole family is getting ready to go to a street fair in Brooklyn. Samantha is saying, like, I don't know why I have to go to this. And Tony says, because it'll be nice, it'll be great to go to see your old friends, go to the old neighborhood, and because you don't have a choice. So, and then they're waiting for Angela to come downstairs. She finally does come downstairs. Jonathan's like, Mona walks in first in a very fancy dress.
I know.
And just like does a twirl. She's like not even saying anything. She's just kind of floating around the room.
I know. What is happening?
I don't know. So Jonathan comes down and he says, wait till you see her because she's really put effort into this outfit. Angela comes downstairs and I don't even understand what she's wearing.
I don't know. It's like she's Amish or something. Or I don't know. Not Amish, but...
So our daughters have Josefina, the American Girl doll, and I feel like this is Josefina's outfit.
Oh, okay.
That she came with. But this is just so Angela because she wants to make a good impression and she wants to go back to Tony's old neighborhood and be accepted.
Well, she should put on a leather jacket or something. This outfit's not going to cut it.
So she
Or is there a theme to the...
I don't think so.
Theme,
no,
right?
I think this is... Angela's thinking old country Italy, not Brooklyn.
Oh, I
as much.
see. I understand.
She wants to look like someone who they would be like, oh, Tony could take her home to mama. You know?
I see. Okay.
Now, she comes down and she asks Tony, what do you think about this peasant blouse? He looks at the tag because it's still on there for some reason. Maybe she was going to return it if they didn't like it. And it's $200. Now, I looked up what $200 is today, and that's like $463.
I was going to guess 400 even.
That's an expensive ass blouse.
know.
But I think this is also setting up something for something later.
Oh, I see.
So we get the idea here that Angela can afford expensive things if she wants them. So there's a part cut out. So this episode is airing on the Roku channel right now. When it was on Crackle, I did download it. And so we had both versions of it.
Yeah.
And so here there's a little bit cut out where Angela says, I just really want to make a good impression. This is my very first street fair. I thought I would get down.
I remember my first street fair. My first street fair.
I thought I'd get down and get ethnic.
Sorry.
And then Tony says, you look like a wasp who herds sheep for a living. And then they all leave for the street fair.
What does that mean, though? Wasp?
Yeah, we've already gone over this before.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
I knew
a
it
white
sounded familiar.
American, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
I'm just saying it stands for something. Okay, yes, I remember
and he's
now.
made fun of her as being a wasp before.
Yes, I remember now. Sorry.
I actually don't know I'm guessing that's an acceptable term. I don't know. It's the 80s. We'll move past it.
Yeah.
All right, so they all leave for the street fair. Now, she's helping Tony work Mrs. Rosini's fish kebab booth. Very interesting.
I know. I was like, that sounds awful.
I know. And she says, we've been here an hour and you haven't let me cook anything yet. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So Mrs. Rosini comes over. She's bringing in raw fish, I'm guessing kebabs that need to be cooked. And she sees that now Angela is mixing the calamari. And she asks Tony, what is she doing? And he looks over. He says she's burning the calamari.
I know. And there's just smoke going everywhere. And she's waving her arms.
But I mean...
That new outfit's going to smell like burnt fish.
And honestly, she's been there for 20 seconds. Like,
I know.
Was that really her fault?
No. But what happens next is...
Right. So Mrs. Rosini is like, go get some ice and put it on the fish. And then she tells Tony to keep her away from the calamari. So Angela goes to get a cooler, and the way she's carrying it, she can't see where she's going. So she smashes into a pile of ice cream cones that are sitting on somebody else's booth.
I know. This has a Three's Company vibe to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So the woman who behind the gelato stand pops up, and this is Frankie. So she's like, hey, what are you doing? And Angela's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And now Mrs. Rosini recognizes the woman behind the booth and says, oh, it's Francesca. So she runs over. She's excited to see her. She introduces her to Tony. She's like, look who's here. It's Francesca. They ask what she's doing, and she's like, I'm helping Papa with his gelato stand. I said ice cream earlier, but sorry, it's gelato.
Yeah, it's gelato.
I love gelato.
I know.
So Mrs. Rosini is like, what a good Italian girl. What a good single Italian girl.
Yeah,
so
setting it up.
I know, but how does Miss Rosini know this lady is single? I guess people talk in the neighborhood.
That's true. How would she know that? But I like how Mrs. Rosini is acting like Tony's mother, like always trying to hook him up.
Yes, totally. But also, does Mrs. Rosini not see the Angela-Tony connection at all? It seems like she has never considered. She
doesn't care because it's Angela from Connecticut.
Right? Okay. So is that what it is?
Does she fit into the neighborhood, you know?
Right. So she must want him to be with a nice Italian single girl instead of Angela in Connecticut, because then maybe that means he's never coming home. But if he marries someone here, he will come home. I wonder as we go along, I don't remember what Mrs. Rosini and Angela's relationship turns into later on. So Angela's kind of standing there like, oh, and then she says, gelato is becoming very popular.
I know, that's all she's got.
Yeah. So Tony now remembers that Angela's standing there, and he's like, oh, Frankie, this is Angela Bauer. Angela, this is Frankie Candino. She's the only girl in the neighborhood who wouldn't go out with me. And then he says, well, except...
The only one.
Right, yeah, only one. Well, except for Anna Camisa, but she was married. So the last name Camisa is back, and that is the last name of Tony Danza's mother.
Yeah, Camisa.
Frankie says she wouldn't go out with Tony because he was too macho. He says, well, you just couldn't tell a good thing when you saw it. And then she says, no, my dad would have sent me to a convent. And Tony says, well, at least you would have had something to confess. But what's interesting here, so this actress is Kristen Alfonso, best known for playing Hope on Days of Our Lives. She started on Days of Our Lives in 1983.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, she was on it up until last year.
Yeah, that's what I noticed on the Internet Movie Database. Because it said 83 to
2020. And I even clicked 3,815 episodes is what it says here.
Wow.
And I clicked that to see if it really started in 83. And it did. So, yeah, that is incredible. She's probably come and go. You know how soap stories.
Yeah, right.
I'm
she
sure she was
died
maybe
and
died
then came back to
for a
life.
while. And then, and also, it has Hope Brady, Hope Williams, and Gina Von Amberg. It's very soap opera. I've never watched Days of Our Lives, so I'm not really sure. But I do know that Bo and Hope were a very popular couple.
I got a good friend who would know who she is. He watched Days of Our Lives.
Oh, is that Casey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then she did, guest spots on other shows throughout. And it says now that she's going to be in 2 V.C. Andrews movies. So V.C. Andrews, All That Glitters, and V.C. Andrews, Hidden Jewel. Now, I read a lot of V.C. Andrews as a kid, but I do not remember either of those.
Oh, she was in Friends.
Yes, she plays Hope. I think she plays herself on Friends because
because Dr. Drake Ramore.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It says Hope Brady. That's so funny.
But Yes, and also if you have kids, don't let them read B.C. Andrews. It's actually not for kids. Okay.
Melrose Place. She's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and all while being on a soap opera.
Right.
Kind of crazy.
40 years.
Something like that. No.
I know. There was a meme going around that's like, it was 40 years ago. Oh, 1960? No, 1980.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Yes, it is terrible. Okay, but what's also funny is that she and Tony supposedly went to high school together. But Christian Alfonso is... Oh, wait, is her name Kristen or Christian? Is only 57 years old. And Tony Danza will be 70.
Kristen, no?
I don't know. There's an I and an A. Tony Danza is going to be 70 on April 21st.
Oh, and she's 50.
57. So she's 13 years younger than Tony Danza, but they
but-
went to high school together.
What do you want?
Yeah. So now later...
That's like on The Office when Michael and what's her...
oh yeah,
gosh.
Michael and Phyllis were
Phyllis
supposed to...
claimed to be in the same high school or college, and they're really, in real life, like 9 or 10 years apart.
Yes, we did. We looked that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Tony's kind of following Frankie around the street fair. He's helping her out in the gelato stand, and Angela's stuck taking orders over at the fish kebab stand. So, but also trying to overhear what they're talking about. And they're catching up. He asked her what happened after high school. She says she went to Harvard Law, and now she is a lawyer. And he's pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
While Angela is taking orders.
And she works for the Mets.
Oh, right. They represent the Mets.
Represent the Mets.
While Angela's taking orders, this man asks for 7 kebabs, and he asked for them well done.
Fish.
It's a fish stand. Right,
Yeah,
and
maybe
this
he
isn't
was
sushi,
confused.
so let's make... No, he's the one that says well done. I was
Well, maybe
very
that's what I'm saying.
confused by
Maybe
that.
he's confused.
Oh, you're right. He's confused.
Well done fish. Well, you're not going to get it.
I don't think you want to eat anything that's not fully
Medium.
cooked at this Brooklyn street fair.
Yeah.
So she's listening to them, and they are talking about how, yes, she represents the Mets. She can get seats. They're talking about... I don't understand any... I'm like Angela here. So she asks Tony, are you still a fan? He says, is Strawberry hitting 306 with 94 RBIs?
Daryl Strawberry.
Right. Okay, that part I got.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. You said I don't understand.
What does 305 mean, and what is 94?
Oh, batting average.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if he's hitting 306, right? Is that what we said?
Yeah, 306.
So
I've messed it up for a second.
That's actually, which is an excellent batting average, by the way. It just means for every 100 times he goes to base, he hits the ball at least. He gets
Every 1,000 times.
No, it's actually 100. So for every 100 times he goes to bat, he gets 30. 30 of them are hits.
Okay, I see. Gotcha.
That's how it works. 300, 1,000. So, and yes, he did bat. His actually lifetime batting average is 259, which is still really good.
Yeah. So then she says, well, it's 305 because he went 0 for 4 last night. So I guess he didn't hit anything.
Right. So his average just dropped
went down
a point.
a tiny bit.
Right.
Okay. So Angela's just overhearing how this woman's beautiful. This woman's a lawyer, and she's talking to him about baseball.
Right. Right. Forget it.
Alarm bells are going off all over the place. So she can't concentrate on taking this man's order, and he's getting agitated. So she's like, I'm sorry, can you please repeat your order? And he says no, and he walks away. And
he just wants his 7 well done
fish kebabs.
Fish kebabs.
And he wants to get out. He's got other stuff to do here at the street fair.
Right. There's gelato.
Yep. And as he walks away, Angela says, you're too fat anyway.
Yeah, man. Just all mad. Shaming him.
Terrible joke. So Tony probably sees that Angela's a bit agitated, and he's like, okay, I should probably get back to work. So he walks over to the fish stand, and she's like, yes, that would be nice. And he says, is there something the matter? And she's like, no. And he's like, yes, there is something the matter. What is it? And she says, well, I've been dying to get to the sausage and pepper stand.
Still with the sauce. Sausage and peppers,
I'm
which
right.
sounds way better than a fish kebab. I'm not going to lie.
It does. I know. Like, I
God,
want to
sausage
slap in
and
Mrs.
peppers.
Rosini's face to be working the fish kebab stand, and all you want to do is eat sausage and peppers.
Yep.
But I'm right there. I mean, I do like fish, but I'm right there with you, Angela. I love sausage and peppers. So Tony's like, okay, well, let me tell you. As soon as stuff calms down here, we'll go over there, and I think he says we'll cruise into sausage and pepper land.
That's
Mrs.
that
Rosini-
code for something? Oh, God. What does that mean? Cruise into sausage and pepper land.
That's season 8.
Yeah,
maybe.
I know, right?
I'd actually, we don't know. And he says it's a date. So quite a bit of time has passed here because this is now September, I guess we're assuming, since that's when it aired.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, their lives continue on, even though we don't watch them during the summer. If you think about the actual characters,
Right.
So maybe these characters, he asked her out on a date in the last episode of season 3. So we don't really. I mean, it's obvious that they're not dating here, but we get the impression that they are spending a lot of time together,
Right.
doing things that people who are dating would do.
Right. We have no idea how much time transpired or what happened during the time.
Right.
But you're right. They could have grown a lot closer.
Yes, and they do kind of start this weird relationship where they're dating without dating.
Mm-hmm.
So Frankie calls over and asks Tony if he has change for a 20. Tony says, "What do I look like? The Bank of Brooklyn." This flirty banter is terrible.
I know. What do I look like? The Bank of Brooklyn.
And then she's like, "Hurry up because his gelato's melting." So Tony's like, "I've got a meltdown." So he goes over. So he's still very flirty with Frankie, and Angela's noticing it. And now not only is Angela noticing it, but Mona notices it too. So she asks, like, what is going on over there? And Angela says, "They're just friends. A man and a woman can be just friends, She says that to
Mona. Why?
Right, Mona.
Why bother?
Right. Yes,
So
why?
funny.
But of course they're just friends because they've actually only seen each other. Like, unless they went and had sex in the bathroom. At this point, they are just friends.
Friends, right.
But, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're both very flirty with each other. So this is probably going to end in somebody asking someone out at the end of the night.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely going in that direction.
Okay, so now Mona walks away, leaving Angela to think about that. And Tiny comes up to Tony. So between recording the last episode and recording this episode, the actor Walter Olkowitz is how I think you would say his last name, has passed away.
Yeah, I know. That was when you sent that to me today. I thought, how odd, because we were
Yes.
just talking about him on the last episode.
Yes, so he died on Tuesday. Apparently, he had a very long illness that he dealt with for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
His son is a writer, and he was the one who said that he passed away, and I guess was his main caregiver. He was 72 years old.
Wow.
In addition to Who's the Boss, he was on Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
the cable guy on Seinfeld, which you
Of
remember
course.
him from.
Yeah.
He also was on Grace Under Fire for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was pretty well known for that. I think his character's name may have been Dougie or Doogie because I saw some tweets about that. So, yeah, very sad. Now he is here he's excited to see Tony. Tony says, "What's going down?" And he says, "Everything," which basically means he's going to eat his way around the street fair.
Yeah.
Which I respect.
I respect.
And
Do you remember your first street fair?
I don't, but I'm sure it was great. I remember the county fair as a kid.
No, I do too. I remember the fair coming around.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic.
You know, the thing about the fair is it came around each year in my area, and it was always the week I got my report card. So it was a struggle for me to go to the fair because I was usually grounded. Yeah. I was like, I wouldn't dare to ask to go to the fair after some of my report cards.
That explains so much about
I
you.
know.
Okay, in the background, we see Samantha walking by with a young guy and Jonathan following behind them eating cotton candy. Poor Jonathan has zero to do in this entire
I know.
episode.
Again.
All he does is introduce his mother coming down the stairs and then eat some cotton candy. But Samantha has met up with Elvis, who is Tiny's son, and they're hanging out at the street fair. And he has purchased her, or he won her a teddy bear. And he says, it only cost me $23.
That's funny.
Tiny's like, that's my boy, and he walks away. So Tony says to Angela, he got a teddy bear. When you get one of those for a girl, it's serious. And Angela's like, well, Elvis seems like a perfectly nice boy. But Tony reminds her that Tiny has fathered that child.
Right.
Now, Frankie comes over and she says to Tony, what are you, all work and no play? So she's hinting. She wants to go have some time to hang out with Tony. And Tony's like,
who's running the gelato stand?
That is a very good question because we
she's
don't
just
see her
windmilling around.
papa. So is she the only one there?
I don't know.
Maybe Mrs. Rosini's going to handle both the kebab and the gelato stand because she comes in and says, we can handle this. Why don't you go? But then Tony, which is kind of sweet, says to Angela, but what about our date? And she says, the sausage and peppers will probably be there.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of sausage and peppers.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Sure.
So I wonder if Frankie picks up at all that he is like saying anything like that to Angela, because then it would be kind of
awkward.
Well, yeah, because like she's going to be pretty forward here soon, so you might want to like figure out what all the relationships are. But I guess also she would figure if he is flirting with her this much and they are dating, then he's kind of a creep. Okay, so he goes and he says, "Let me see if I can win you a teddy."
A bear, I hope.
I don't remember.
Not just a teddy.
Yeah, I don't remember the lingerie at street fairs.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's
So it's teddy bear.
So they go off, and they kind of fade to let you think that some times pass where Angela and Mrs. Rosini have been working the booth. And Angela asks Mrs. Rosini, would you mind if I take a little break? And she's like, mind?
No, get out.
No, take all the time you need. Why? Angela's not doing anything bad anymore. Okay, so she wanders off and all she sees are couples.
I know, it's so bad.
So, wait, is there a man working the gelato? Oh, look. Oh, there's Papa right behind Angela. I'm sorry. He is there.
Then
yes, so he is
I
working
stand
the
corrected.
gelato. I did not notice him the first 4 times we watched this episode.
I didn't either.
Now, all Angela sees are couples. There's a couple walking by. There's a couple sitting at a table. There are couples dancing. And there's like this really awful romantic song playing in the background.
Yes, of course, just to highlight.
Yes, so as she weaves her way through all the couples, she runs into the guy who ran away from her fish kebab stand earlier, and he's just left the sausage and pepper stand. So she goes up to the sausage and pepper stand and says, may I have some? And the guy's like, we just ran out. Mm-hmm. So 7 fish kebabs just bought the last sausage and peppers.
Yeah, he'll show her.
And then the lyrics to so now as she's dejected without any sausage and peppers, she sits down at someone's table it's empty but still dirty. And the lyrics to the song is I want to make love to you.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
And that's playing as she's watching Frankie and Tony dance. So now we kind of go into Frankie and Tony's little circle to see what they're talking about. And she's asking him, he says, after I hurt my shoulder, then that was it for baseball. She asks him what he's doing now. And he's like, oh, actually, I work as a housekeeper for Angela. And I think Tony, you could tell he's a little nervous saying that because she's like, you're kidding. And he's like, well, I just wanted Sam to have a better place and make sure she was in a good school. And Frankie is very impressed with this. And I feel like that's probably something that Tony doesn't expect to hear when he says that. Like, I think he's used to people looking down on him when he says that he's a housekeeper. Aww. But she's quite taken with that. She's like, very few men would have such confidence in their masculinity to be able to work as a housekeeper. And she's basically saying that it's sweet that he's doing whatever he needs to take care of his daughter. So now Tony...
That's nice.
Yeah. Now Tony's feeling pretty good about himself. So he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm not a bad little dancer.
Right. And then he does some moves.
Right.
Tony Tony Danza moves.
Yeah, dances her around. So she's saying, like, I think you're quite a guy. And he says, I think you're, and she says, dying to be kissed.
Oh,
I know, it's
smooth.
Super lame. Oh, and she is holding a teddy bear that he must have won for her.
So he won her a teddy.
Yeah, he did. And they start kissing. And Angela's just sitting at her little table, all sad. She actually covers her mouth when she sees them kissing.
I know, shock.
Tiny comes up behind her, and he asks how she's doing. This is the second time Tiny's approached her, like in some sort of social setting. And now she says, would you like to dance? Because I came here to have a good time. So she's not going to let this get her down. Like, she's seen Tony with other women before. It'll just be what it is, and she's going to enjoy herself tonight. So she starts dancing with Tiny, and they can't even get on the dance floor before Mrs. Rosini stops the music.
Right, she breaks it all up because it's time for the auction.
Right. So now they're going to get started with an auction.
For neighborhood beautification.
Yes. All of the money is going to landscaping and cleaning up the neighborhood. Now, the first item that's up to be auctioned is Tony Micelli. He's offering his services for the weekend.
Wow.
just his cleaning. So yeah, you can tell the crowd gets a little excited, and she says, as a housekeeper.
Right. You know what's odd about this episode?
What?
Just a side note. Is that Philly Fingers isn't there.
And I was thinking about that earlier.
It's the neighborhood.
Right.
So he shows up in Connecticut a lot.
All the time.
Especially, again, with the boxing fundraiser for the schools, which made no sense that he drove the, whatever she was, the principal, I don't know. But he's not here at the neighborhood street festival.
No, I know. I feel like it's like they just kind of... They leave, the character name is just like random Brooklyn person. And then they see which actor is available. And then they just fill
Tiny,
them in. Right.
Whether it's Philly Fingers.
Right. Because this part could have probably been done by Philly Fingers, no problem, And
right. Even after, actually probably would have been a little bit better after the interaction Angela had with Philly Fingers in the last episode.
For him to ask her
because she realizes
dance.
a little bit of a softer side to Fingers.
Yes.
So
to Mr. Fingers.
Mr. Fingers.
And I feel like Tony would be more worried about Philly Fingers' son. Although we determined that Philly didn't have any kids.
No, he got kicked out of the house. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's why we were
I think he's
confused
got
with the
kids.
PTA. Okay. So
I think.
Okay. It would make sense if he had kids because that's why he was with Melva for the PTA. And I would feel like Tony would be a little more nervous about Philly Fingers' son than Tiny's.
Yeah.
But,
scumbag.
Okay,
Little Fingers. Fingers Jr.
You don't want Fingers Jr. going anywhere near your 15-year-old daughter or 14-year-old daughter.
I agree with that 100%.
Okay, so Mrs. Rosini pulls Tony up onto the stage, and Frankie's like, oh, that's a cute little idea that you've got going here. So he's showing off, he's flexing. Tiny says, I'll give you $1.75. Everybody's laughing. He's like, well, hang on. So now he flexes both of his arms, and Tiny's like, okay, $1.
And what does flexing the arms have to do with cleaning houses?
I don't know. I guess because he's showing you that he can lift the couch and clean right underneath it. Move the refrigerator. So a woman in the crowd who's very excited says $20. She's waving a $20 bill.
Yeah, she's ready.
Then Frankie says $30. And Mrs. Rosini seems impressed with $30. This will buy 5
Oh, yeah. She's
beds.
like beautification all the way down the street.
Yeah. And so what do you... do I have my calculator, my inflation calculator
$30
open?
got to be like $68.
Yeah, maybe like $70.
$70.
So then Angela says $40. And Tony's like, well, I work for you all the time. What are you doing? She's like, oh, I don't know. I love petunias.
Yeah.
So then Frankie says $50. Angela says $80.
And meanwhile, Mrs. Rosini's about to collapse.
I She's almost ready to hyperventilate. We'll be able to buy rose bushes too. Frankie says $90. And then Angela says $100. And the two people standing behind Angela are very excited or impressed that she just said $100. The two extras who don't get to talk. So then she's like, okay, well, $100 going once, going twice. Do I hear 110? This would be a Pitkin Avenue record. And Frankie says $1,000. So that
Boom.
I did look up and equates to about $2,300 today. Yeah, that's a lot.
That is.
And Mrs. Rosini's like, oh, no, Tony says, I didn't hear 110.
I know, because everybody's shocked.
Right. And Mrs. Rosini is excited. She says, this is enough money. We don't need roses. We can all afford to move out of Brooklyn. Really, $2,300 is not going to help anyone move out of Brooklyn. But it's just a line.
Well, help you move
just
out,
a joke.
I guess, but not live.
Yeah, but like maybe two people.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angela's contemplating what to do. Mona says, I am your mother. I know what's best for you. Buy him. And they're counting down, going once, going twice. Mona's like, do something. But here, okay, so, Angela played off the $40 as just liking petunias. If she now ups Frankie's $1,000 bid.
Then it's on.
Right. I mean, she's going to have to basically be like, I bought you because I didn't want her to have you.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah, like that is making a statement. Because we know, since Angela's wearing the equivalent of a $463 shirt today, that she could afford to bid on him. So it's not about the money. It's that if she does this, what does that mean? And she's about to do it, and then Mrs. Rosini says sold. So
Wow.
Tony Micelli has sold to Frankie for $1,000. So now I'm guessing it's the next day. I have a hard time with the timeline here. So either the street fair was Friday night and then Tony went there Saturday, Sunday, or the street fair was Saturday night and Tony just went home with Frankie and this is now Sunday.
I was thinking it's a whole weekend, but that makes sense.
Yeah, because this can't be like, and they couldn't have scheduled it in the future because Samantha's still waiting for Elvis to call. So I don't know that it would have been like he wasn't going to call for a whole week. So I'm guessing this is the next day or the next evening that they're waiting. She's waiting for Tony to come home and Samantha's waiting for Elvis to call.
Oh, I see. All right.
So Angela asks, when did Elvis say he would call? And Sam's like, I don't know, 56 minutes ago. And then she asks Angela, when did Dad say he would be home? And Angela says, oh, well, he said he might be late if he had to clean her windows too. And he's still not home, so she looks at her watch and she says she must have skylights.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So there's a key in the door, and Angela gets very excited. She jumps up and runs to the front door, and it's Mona. And she says, oh, it's you.
Well, first she goes run the door, and she's like, Tony. It's dramatic.
And then, oh, it's you.
Yeah.
And then Mona says, that's what I said when you were born.
I know, again, this...
So
terrible
mean.
things.
I know. I mean, Angela does deserve it a tiny bit here only because of what she said to Mona, but crumbs, that's all Mona gives Angela.
Right.
So Mona throws something at her, like her jacket or something, and then walks through. The phone starts ringing. So Samantha's like, oh, this must be Elvis. And then she's like, well, now I can't answer because it's going to seem like I've been waiting by the phone. So Mona, will you answer it for me? And Mona's like, oh, deceive a man? Of course. So she picks up the phone. And it's not Elvis, it's Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
So Samantha's like, when she realizes that it's not Elvis. And she says, that's it. Teddy is dead. And she goes upstairs. So now Mona's talking to Frankie and she's like, oh, sure, I'll take a message for you. And she starts writing down this message. Now look at Katherine Hellman's hand because she is not writing words
awesome.
at all.
She's just drawing lines.
Yeah. And the message is, I need you. I want you. I love you.
Yeah.
Think about it.
She wasted no time.
Yeah, this was quite a night. So even if this was all day Saturday into Saturday night and then Sunday, a lot of ground was covered because she's basically in love with him and ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's ready to move in.
So
learn.
Mona says, "Yep, got it." And then she rips the note off, and Angela's still standing there. So she heard all of that. And Angela blows it off. Well, it is very hard to find good help. But Mona says, "I'm worried."
She's that excited about the windows that were clean.
Yeah, her windows were spectacular.
Clearly.
Now the front door opens, and it is Tony. So they say hi to him. He looks a little tired.
Well.
A lot of sex and cleaning.
Yeah.
And Mona, they ask him he asks, how was the weekend? And Mona says, I was just about to ask you the same. And then she hands Tony the message. He reads it. He doesn't read it out loud. And then he says, nice penmanship, Mona.
Which is funny.
I know.
I'm pretty sure she drew lines.
I know. I almost wonder if that was a joke or if that was in the script.
Oh, right. Good point.
Yeah. So Angela says, I know this isn't any of my business, but what are you supposed to be thinking about? So he knows now that they've read his message. And he's like, oh, this, that, marriage. And then he says, they were like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, Frankie proposed. And then he goes to go upstairs. And Mona's like, wait a minute, you can't just drop a bomb like that and then go to bed.
Frankie wastes no time.
I know, right? Okay, so on one hand, I think she saw this nice guy that she's known for a long time who cleans, and he does all this for this woman, so why wouldn't... It's almost like an arranged marriage for her,
right?
And then you would think that she would just be really into him and want to date him for a while.
Right.
But they need to wrap this up in one episode, so here we are.
Right, you can't. Right, you can't linger.
So he says, they ask him, what did you tell her? And he says, I told her that I needed time to think about it. Which, if we remember, if you have to think about it, you don't do it. That's what Tony told Angela. So he says, I told her that, that I needed to think, so I think I'm going to go think, and I will see you in the morning. And he goes upstairs. So Angela's like, okay, pretending that nothing's bothering her with her little pink popped collar and her little pink headband that matches and her gray velour sweatsuit that I actually really like. And Mona says, I'm worried. And Angela says, it's nothing to worry about. He isn't going to do anything foolish. But so yes, accepting a marriage proposal right then would be kind of foolish if he doesn't know her that well.
Right.
But there's really nothing foolish about the idea of him wanting to be with or date Frankie.
True.
On paper, she looks great. So we fade here into Angela in a therapist's office. And this must have been the next day. So kudos to her for getting a therapy appointment this quickly.
Yeah, it is impressive.
Usually you got to deal with the rigmarole of insurance and then setting up appointments.
Yeah, it was impressive.
And she even says, I've never done this before. So it's not like this lady was on standby. So this is Dr. Bellows. And this actress is... You hear that cat? What is that cat doing?
What's in the room?
This actress is Erica Yawn. And she... Oh my goodness. She passed away in 2019 at the age of 90. So,
wow.
Yeah, lots of character acting. She...
Oh, good for her.
She was on Murphy Brown. Let me see what... Picket Fences, quite a few episodes. Beverly Hills 90210, quite a few episodes. So, yes, 90 years old. Now, in this therapy session, Dr. Bellows says, Angela, I would like you to tell me more about your relationship with Tony. So Angela's like, well, we started out, he's my housekeeper, and then we became friends, and now, I guess you would say he's my best friend, but I don't have that many friends, which is true, and she's losing them rapidly.
Right.
I don't know that we're ever going to see another Angela friend again.
I know. So she had a few for a while. Yeah,
she had Wendy, and then Isabel, and now no one.
Yeah. Where'd everybody go?
So Dr. Bellows is like, and then she's like, oh, well, I mean, and I guess I think about us every now and then. And she asks, well, what do you think about? Do you think about marriage? Do you think about sex? Do you think about children? And Angela's like, definitely not sex. Now, the Crackle version of this, I noticed, chops the hell out of this therapy session. But the Roku, as far as I can tell, has the entire thing from the way it originally aired.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, definitely not sex. And Dr. Bella says, you fantasize about him. And she says, I do not. I would never. I guess you could call it that. So I don't think I would have picked up on this as a kid, but Angela is basically saying that she thinks about having sex with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, but everybody knows that attraction is not what you can build a relationship on. You have to have similar backgrounds and mutual goals, and you need to know what an RBI is. So Dr. Bellows is like, what?
Yeah, exactly. She's completely confused.
Right. But she insists, you guys aren't not together because of any of that. Like, these are excuses. It doesn't have to do with backgrounds or goals or baseball. Like, and Angela says, well, why? What do you think? Why is it? And Dr. Bell is like, well, that's what we're going to try to figure out. And then she says, and RBI is runs batted in.
Mm-hmm. Explain it to her.
Right. And Angela's like, even you know that. She's
right.
like, Frankie knows that. You know that. Everybody knows that except for me. So Dr. Bellows is like, you feel inadequate. And Angela is like, inadequate? No, I'm bright, attractive, determined. I own my own home. I own my own business.
Yeah.
My child is very smart. Yes, I feel inadequate.
Yeah. I know. I just love how scatterbrained she is.
I know. But she's like having, this is a moment for her.
Yeah, realization.
This is her realization here. So Dr. Bellows thinks at first that she feels inadequate against Frankie, but she says she actually feels inadequate up against Tony because he's so confident and so charming and he's so much fun. And so I think as much as he thinks he's not good enough for her, she thinks that she's not good enough for him.
Right.
And he asks, well, she asks, how do you think Tony feels about you? And Angela's like, I'm sure he thinks I'm a little uptight and a little boring, but I know that he cares about me. And Dr. Bellows asks, well, how do you know that? She says, well, he kissed me once. So
we were drunk.
But we were both drunk, right? So that's referring to the kiss and first kiss.
Right.
And then she says, and he told me he loved me, but then again, he thought he was dying. And that's right. Referring to the anniversary.
Yep.
But she's leaving out, he helped me start my own business. He
right, all the nice, wonderful things he did for her.
Well, not just that, but things that show that he stopped me from marrying the guy I was with.
Right, just things that show that he cares.
Right, yeah, things. I mean, I know they have to probably boil it down to a couple, and those are big ones. And then she makes excuses about them. But there are plenty of things that Tony has done to show that he cares about her. So now she's getting a little uncomfortable, and she's like, you know what? I wasn't so sure that this was a good idea, and I think I'm right. And she stands up to leave, and Dr. Bellows is like, get back in the chair right now.
Yeah.
And Angela does. So she sits back down, and she says, I've never been to a psychiatrist before, but aren't you supposed to just nod and ask questions? That's the thing, too, that I don't understand is why this woman would be a psychiatrist. Because, I guess that means she's a medical doctor, but that she can prescribe medicine. But it seems like this would be a psychologist because Angela's just here to talk about a problem and not like a mental illness that she's dealing with.
But TV show,
I know,
they
didn't know. Okay, so Dr. Bellows asks her, do you love Tony? Like, you want me to ask you a question? Okay, do you like Tony?
Right.
And Angela's like, not that question. And then she's again looking for an escape route. Like, is my time almost up? So she really has no way to escape anymore. And so she starts thinking about it, and she's like, he's the most incredible man I've ever known. And I love how she says, when I'm with him, I'm happier than I've ever been and sadder sometimes.
Interesting.
That is interesting, but I guess it just like, someone who can bring out both of those emotions in you, or probably someone that, not only just being happy, but anything, he can also hurt her in a way that nobody else can, or make her sad in a way
that's
that no
true.
one else can.
Yeah.
So she admits, I love Tony.
Right. And then she can't believe the words that just came out of her mouth.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, she's shocked that she's actually admitting it to herself and admitting it to this woman. And is that a music stand in the background? I've wondered that for 40 years. What the hell is that thing back there?
Behind them?
Like, if you look in between Dr. Bellows and Angela, it looks like an old-timey music stand or something.
Oh, maybe.
With like
I don't know. I
loop.
didn't even notice.
Okay. Sorry. So Dr. Bellows says it might help if he knew that. And Angela says, I just wish I could hear it from him first. But you did hear it from him first, except you thought he was dying.
Right, true.
Right. So this next part makes my heart break for Angela, because she says, when I was a kid, if I wanted to play with somebody, I always had to do the asking. And with my ex-husband, I'm the one who got down on one knee and proposed. And even
she actually says both knees.
Oh, God.
It's kind of interesting. It made me laugh a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, she does. I'm the one who got down on my knees. Okay, but she's just talking about proposing.
But did you propose afterwards? Like, what was happening? Anyway.
Yeah, you think they would have said one knee.
I know. That's why I caught that when we watched it last night. I was like, well, that doesn't sound good.
And she says, even Mother doesn't hug me unless I hug her first.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. This just tells you so much about Angela in that one little blip.
I know.
Because she really, and as confident as she is in her job and her career, she really isn't, she has no self-confidence when it comes to relationships.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And
her mother is probably largely to blame for that. And whether or not Mona realized that she was doing it, I don't, hopefully she didn't, but I'm sure that she had a big effect on that. Okay, so she says, I just wish for once that someone would say it to me first. And then she asks Dr. Bellows, what do you think? And Dr. Bellows says, I think you might lose him. Mm-hmm. Which is a little dramatic, Dr. Bellows.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is
possible.
What does
she know?
The therapy scene ends with a very serious look on Angela's face and fades or dissolves to a very serious look on Tony's face.
I know.
So he's thinking about things.
So is he sitting backwards in a chair thinking about things?
Yeah, he is. No, wait. He's on the edge of the couch or something, I think. And there's a knock at the door. He goes to answer it, and it's Frankie. And he's like, it's the middle of the day. Aren't you supposed to be in court badgering a witness? And she's like, no, that's tomorrow. Today I want to badger my favorite man into marrying me. Mm. So
she's not playing around.
No, not at all. So she kisses him, and he says, who? You badger good. What?
What the hell does that mean?
At that point, I would have been like, you know what? I think I take back my marriage proposal.
I know.
I'm going to go ahead and go.
You badger good. Yeah, just leave.
So she asks him, what is it going to be? And again, he's like, this is happening really fast. Mm-hmm. I feel swept away. I need
swept
time.
Away.
But she's like, we had a great weekend, and we've always been attracted to each other. So
it's not necessarily she wouldn't date him.
What? Oh, that's true.
Back in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I guess she just didn't date him because she knew he would get her in trouble, I guess.
Probably.
And so she's like, what could be better than you and your beautiful daughter living with me? Your days would be filled with happiness and your nights would be filled with, and she's going in for another kiss.
Right.
So it seems like the one thing here I think is her idea, I think the allure of Tony is that he is such a nice guy and he's going to be a stay-at-home dad pretty much. But like, would she feel the same way when Tony decides he wants to go back to school and do something else? You know, and maybe I don't know that he's thinking that far ahead right now, but she wants him just the way he is, you know, and not to change or grow in any way. So he's like, you know, we are really good together and we are very attracted to each other. So why not just keep dating? Yes, why not just keep dating? I know,
there's an idea. What a concept. Dating and see if you want to get married maybe in a year or so.
I mean, and you know, if things are going great, you'd probably even know in a few months how things are going.
Right,
but, like,
a few weeks maybe.
Yeah. But she's like, what are you waiting for? And what do you think is going to happen? And really what he is waiting for is how long he can hold out until he can figure out a way for him and Angela to be together. I do think that if Angela wasn't in the picture, this is, again, someone where he probably would have been very happy with her.
Yeah, true.
You know, I don't know that he necessarily would have wanted to jump right into marriage even if Angela wasn't in the picture, but she's definitely someone who he would connect with. So she says, you know, she asks him, is this about Angela? And he plays it off like it's not. And he's like, why would you even think that? And she says, well, we were having a great time until she called to ask where the dishwashing detergent was.
Which she couldn't find. Didn't even bother to look around even a little bit.
I'm sure not. I'm sure she did that just because she wanted a reason to.
True, that's a good point.
In case they're doing something right now, I'm going to interrupt it.
Yes.
So she's like, you know, if you, at some point you're going to figure out what you want, and when you do, look me up if I'm still available.
Yeah.
And she leaves. Well, it looks like he doesn't ever decide that because we never see this lady again.
No.
So goodbye, Frankie. So Tony's still kind of hanging out in the house. He's coming downstairs with a very large wicker basket full of laundry. And now Angela comes home and he's like, what is this, a national holiday?
I know.
It's the middle of the afternoon and these business women keep coming to mess up my day. So she says, well, I gave Mother the afternoon off and I decided to play hooky. And he's like, are you feeling okay? And she's like, yes, I feel fine. She wants to know if the kids are home from school yet. And he says no. And she says, great, because it's nice to have privacy if we wanted to talk about something privately, which I do. So he's like, you know, I also have something that I wanted to talk to you about. And if you don't mind, I would like to go first. And at first Angela's like, no, I really just need to get this off my chest. And then she realizes that he just asked if he could go first.
Right.
So she stops and says, wait a minute. Yes, what did you want to say? But like, this could have really backfired on her if what he wanted to say was, I'm going to marry Frankie.
I know. Right. That would have been awful.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. But instead, he insists that she goes first. And I wish I could remember the episodes, but this happens between them a lot, where she'll have him go first, and then he says, no, you go first. And then they go back and forth until he finally gets angry with her and tells her to speak or tells her to go, and then she does. I know it's definitely happened in Hit the Road, Chad, and I feel like it's going to happen another point too. So he tells her, no, you go first. And she's about to say, and then the front door opens, and now it's Samantha. And she says, I have the best news. Elvis's stepsister got food poisoning. Bonnie has a friend who found out the whole family went to the hospital to watch her stomach get pumped.
It's horrible.
I know. And it sounds like the Milkoviches on Shameless.
I know. It does.
And so that's why he wasn't able to call me. So now I'm going to go sew Teddy's head back on.
Oh, poor Teddy got the brunt of it.
But it's funny how this is a time where Elvis wouldn't have been able to just send her a quick text that says, I had to go to the hospital with my sister.
Right.
Can't call. Because it was, I have to get to the phone in the main house and then call, you know, and they had set a certain time that he was going to call so he would know that she would be available. It's very different now.
Oh, yeah.
So Tony watches Samantha run up the stairs and he says, the course of true romance never did run smooth. And Angela says, love. And he's like, what? And she's like, it's the course of true love never did run smooth. It's Shakespeare. So he's like, oh. And then
Tony has no idea what he just quoted.
He just read that on the back of a bus one time or something.
Fortune cookie.
So then he says that he ran into Frankie today, or Frankie came by, and she asks, are you going to marry her? And he says no. And now Angela's a little shocked.
Yeah, she's like, wait a minute, what?
No, why not? She's an Italian beauty. She's a Harvard graduate, and she drinks beer from a bottle.
Yeah.
Everything he could have ever asked for.
Drinks beer from a bottle.
But Tony says, but I don't love her, and love is
She can
important.
drink all the beer from the bottle she wants.
With her perfect bone structure, which I forgot to bring up earlier, but Angela mentions that to the therapist. So he says, and love is important, and she says it is. So he's like, okay, well, I told you mine, now you tell me yours. And she totally chickens out here. So she says, it was just something about how I didn't want to lose you. And he says, well, that's great, because I didn't want to get lost. So, yeah, but like, okay. So say Angela didn't chicken out here and just blurted out, I love you. Like, where do you think that would have gone?
I know, that's the thing.
That kind of would have been a little awkward.
Right. And then it's just out there.
Right. But I mean, he's done the same thing to her in a different way, kind of. But you would think that maybe you would just want to be like, I have feelings for you, and I think I would like to see if, you'd like to go on a date or something, something more to the effect of, and not just blurting out, I love you. But she doesn't. So they just kind of end the conversation, and Tony's like, you know what? We should have these private talks more often.
Yeah, right.
And Angela says, maybe we will. So he picks up his laundry basket, and he's going downstairs to do the wash. And he asks her, are you sure that it's love? And she says, positive.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yes, and that is the end of... Wait, is there a tag, or is that the end of the episode?
I don't know.
That is the end of the episode.
I think it's the end.
Yeah, there's no tag on this one.
Because it shows... Yeah, that's kind of like it was the tag. Like they married this to the...
Yeah. That is the end of the episode. It was a strong season opener.
It was.
Okay, so do you want to go first with rating, or
yeah,
who did it? I don't even know. I never know.
I think
I will never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. Okay. I'll just go first with rating.
Go.
I gave this an 8. I really did. I enjoyed the episode.
Wow.
And I thought, it's building towards something that I'm going to be completely disappointed. But I'm going to pretend like I don't know, and that something's going to happen this season. I mean, I like the overall story. Maybe that's a little high just because of the idea of oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Frankie wanting to get married,
which is ridiculous, completely ridiculous. So maybe I should retract that. But
no.
I'm like, overall, I thought it was a good episode. It was a good. You're right. It was a good season opener. It was good. It felt like that some time had progressed, and maybe that their relationship has gotten closer over this when they were off the air.
Right.
I can't even talk in between seasons. So it's late. So yeah, I gave it an 8.
So did I.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, I did.
That's incredible.
Because I can't not give it an 8 when we actually got to Angela saying I love you.
Yeah, I know. I think Angela's stuff really put it over the top.
Yeah, it was a very good character development with Angela, I thought. And, she wasn't drugged. She wasn't, it was just her realizing that she is in love with him. I thought the rest was cute. It was a very good guest star. Her wanting to get married in a day is totally ridiculous, but whatever. It's a sitcom. They had to wrap this up.
And they had to do something to make it shocking.
Right.
Or
the
whatever.
stakes had to be high for him to completely end this in one episode.
Right.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I want to say Jonathan's the boss because he was really robbed in this episode. We never saw him again.
I know.
But, okay, so I was torn because Angela, this was a very strong episode for Angela.
Yeah.
But she wasn't the boss because
Right.
she chickened out and Tony made the decision on his own. It wasn't Angela coming to him and saying, I'm in love with you. Can we explore this? And then him realizing Tony made the decision on his own that he wasn't going to marry Frankie.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I feel like he's, still was in charge of what was happening to his own story here. For the same reason, he's obviously doing it because he also cares more for Angela than he does for her.
Okay.
Cares more for what they have than risking it to have something with somebody else. But yeah, I figured I had to go with Tony because he made the decision on his own.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, otherwise it's Angela, and it's really not. So, because everybody else was ineffective in this episode.
Yes, Mona
they
was
really,
worth
there was
it.
no contributions
Right,
whatsoever.
Yeah,
So-
and it was a very strong Angela episode.
It was.
But I just feel like the outcome, she didn't, change the outcome. at all.
No, and Tony did. Like, he could have taken off with Frankie.
Right.
And he just didn't. So he was in control. So, yes, I agree with that.
Yes. Okay, but I guess we do have to say that now, because we were asking in the last episode, when do you think the last time Tony slept with somebody was? So now when I ask that question again, I think we're going to have to say it was here.
Frankie.
It was Frankie. Okay.
Yeah, it went down.
Oh, definitely. Yes. I mean, even the title says Frankie and Tony are lovers.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. So at least Tony got to have a little fun, which he deserved after the proposal.
Yeah, right?
Okay. So you can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram or Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. On Facebook, our page is the Who's the Boss Podcast page. Or go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message. Okay, the next episode we're going to cover is called Big Girl on Campus.
Oh, I'm excited about this one.
Yes, this is a Samantha heavy one, and it introduces a guest star who I looked him up to see what he's doing now, because I always look up these past boyfriends of Samantha to see if they should show up on the reboot, because that would be cute. Just for cameos or whatever. And I really like this guy. So that is next time.
Okay, good. I look forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give a big thumbs up and tell all your friends. And maybe you can tell your grandma, your mother, and your sister or brother. Maybe have no siblings. Tell your dog and cats. Bye.